After Mrs. Kanaka, we will give the floor to a very important speaker. We have a great pleasure of having this person with us. Dimitris Zografopoulos is the DPO, Data Protection Officer, is the title in English, from the Ministry for Health. He will be attending virtually. Thank you very much for waiting, Mr. Zografopoulos. We are looking forward to listening to what you have to tell us. Thank you very much for coming, for attending. Good day. I'll try to speak slowly for the interpreters' sake. Thank you very much. I'm very sorry for not being able to attend in person, but I am at Ioannina. There is a conference here on drugs, so I had to participate virtually. I'd like to thank the Pan-Hellenic Association and Mrs. Spinu personally for the invitation. This is a very significant invitation, and all the more so due to your flattering reference. You said that I make a valuable contribution for the registry of patients with cystic fibrosis. Thank you. I think that the patients themselves have a central role to play, and they have placed their existence under the microscope. I just offered my personal work. I'm very proud for the creation of the registry. A landmark is 6:10 a.m., 8 March 2020. I had finished the draft of the ministerial decision and sent it to all the members of the scientific committee with very few changes. That draft became the final document on establishing the registry of cystic fibrosis. I'd like to thank warmly the scientific team of the registry, which had given me very clear directions about how to draft the decision, and especially the then representative of the Pan-Hellenic Association, Mr. Dimitris, an endless source of inspiration for us to move forward and properly with setting up the registry. Let me underline some important points about the registry of cystic fibrosis in Greece. My own job is to have a clear assurance on behalf of the Ministry for Health that everything takes place properly, by the book. And I can guarantee that. I know that there have been many reservations and a lot of anxiety in patients for the processing of their personal data. I can guarantee that everything happens according to the fundamental requirements of processing as imposed by the European legislation. The way the ministerial decision was drafted, and that's the importance of my know-how, that's where I come in. We should not forget that cystic fibrosis is perhaps the most frequent rare disease that we record, but it's still a rare disease. The peculiarity of this ministerial decision is that it allows a full registration of the parameters, not only for statistical registration, but mostly with a view to providing medical services and providing the opportunity of access to innovative treatments. This is very important, and this is an endowment, if you like, not only for cystic fibrosis patients, but for all rare disease sufferers. I feel that any registry on rare diseases should be based on the notion of the disease or the group of diseases. We could talk about respiratory diseases if we had not a cystic fibrosis registry. Such a registry should include all those parameters that are crucial and important for the provision of medical services. You've heard Mr. Lecam speaking about the importance of data not only for rare diseases in general, but in particular for cystic fibrosis. One of the big legal and scientific peculiarities of this registry is that it allows interconnection with the European Registry of Cystic Fibrosis Patients. What does this mean? It means a flow of data to and fro. We can send information of patients that have consented to the transmission of their personal data to the European Registry of Patients with Cystic Fibrosis, and we may receive data from the registry, and this is very important for the patients because we have to keep case histories. So we can make cross-checks for the accuracy of data and compared to those kept at the corresponding European registry. I don't want to tire you with legal details. I know that I was invited only to give a short address. Of course, if during the event there are questions from the participants or from the audience, I am at the disposal of the organizing committee. You can just call me and we will organize a connection. I'd like to thank you warmly once again for the invitation. I'd like to wish to each one of you all the best. Be healthy first and foremost. I assure you that I will keep on working non-stop with a view to the proper operation of the National Registry of Patients Suffering of Cystic Fibrosis. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Mr. Zografopoulos, we truly thank you. We have Mr. Tsanakas and Mr. Hadjiagor, Mr. Damadia, Mrs. Manika, all the physicians, the doctor, Mr. Paraschakis as well, who were members of the scientific committee for the National Registry of Cystic Fibrosis. A very significant tool for the community, for our doctors, for the patients, that gives us useful information. Thank you very much for your contribution, for all your work in this process. This is one of the first registries of patients that were created in Greece, and the rest are beginning to form. Yesterday, the Ministry for Health announced in the infographics the data from our registry. Perhaps Mrs. Hadjiagorou could say a few things later on about the registry, and Mr. Tsanakas. Thank you, Mr. Zografopoulos. Thank you very much. Be well. Take care.